Hey guys, this is me, back on iScience Street, and today I'm going to be shooting a video on how to make an easy paper puppet that you can turn into any form of action figures or models the way you like it. So the basic materials you'll be requiring is going to be a piece of paper. I'm going to be using a red A4 because I like red. There's no specific necessity for red, it's just that I like it. I've got two just in case. And some wires. So these ones are taken straight out of the sanitary masks, so you don't need to worry about getting these stuffs. They're everywhere these days. And this one's from a different thing, but it's still the same thing. So yeah, 3 of these will do. I'll keep that aside. And of course you're gonna need some of these ordinary stationary items. I don't know what else do I need. Probably these. Yeah, either way, just some normal stationary items. Most importantly, you're just gonna need 2 of these and you should be good to go. So let's put them aside. Now what we're gonna be using are the principles of drawing poses and stuff like this. So this one was a art study I did a while back, and yeah, it's on my Instagram story. If you want to follow, you can check my Instagram out. The links in the description. So I did these kind of studies, and this is exactly why I want to do today's project, because I want to have like a free puppet that I can pose around in my room so I can draw stuff using it. So yeah, I've also gone ahead and made some of these, which are more of those in depth, in perspective, and just basic ones. Some of them using real people, more real people stuff, and more real people, but basically we're going to be doing this guy. So to start things off, I'm going to be basing it off of this image, the first one right here. So let's put these aside. Now we're going to start off with probably the torso, move on to the legs, the hands, and then finally the head. So let's start with the torso. Now the torso is basically going to be a cylindrical piece that is rollable. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Let me use a different A4 for this one. So I'm not going to be doing any measurements, but I'm comparing these bodies to each parts individually, so you can make any size no matter the measurements. So first of all, I need to roll this the other way. It's gonna be very annoying later on. Alright, so let's start with in this image right here, I've used it's a sphere for the rib cage, but we're going to be using a cylinder. So something like this. Will do, and you just need to roll it like this. And I'll use my tape to put it in place. Now simply we have the top part of the torso done. Now before we move on to the rest of the pieces, I quickly wanna shape these wires into the thing we're gonna be making. So we're gonna start with the backbone. Actually, let's start with the legs. So maybe I should try going for the same size as the one on the reference. That would be easier for you guys to understand. Okay, something like this for the legs. Now that's the legs done pretty much. And then the next thing is going to be the hands. So actually this piece is too big now, so I'll be making that once more later on. Now the legs and the hands are in positions like this. Now if you've done art studies, you should know that the crotch is in the center of the entire thing, so we're going to be doubling the legs later on, but for now we're just going to be using this tiny wire for the leg, because that's just the frame. It doesn't need to be accurate right now. So how big do we want it? Exactly half. Okay, does that work? Yep. So I'm gonna push this in there and then roll it so it doesn't open up. A few more rolls. I'll take this out for now. Now right there I'll put my hand and roll it again for the head. So that should give you a rough idea of how we're going to be making this project. Now we have the basic skeleton ready. Let's put our legs in there as well. Alright. Nice. So moving on, we're going to be doing, let's start differently, shall we? We're gonna start with the bottom torso this time. Now it's going to be sort of a conical shape, as you can see right here, and the cone is facing upwards. So how big do we want the cone to be? Let's say around this size will do. Now to make a conical shape, you just need to do something like this. A bit more thinner, that's too fat. That's too wide actually. Okay, right there, and I will put a piece of tape in there so it doesn't open up. Cut off the extra unnecessary pieces. And we have the lower part of the torso done, so I'll push it inside like that. Now since that's done, is it still too big? No, it's fine. So once that's done, we'll move on to the upper rib cage right now. So let's see, maybe I should use my old trick of doing rib cages, that is simply, okay, let's use that. So for that we're gonna, okay, let's make use of this guy instead. Now what I'm going to be doing is putting some extra weight so it just looks like it's bulged outwards. So something like this, and I'll stick it right there. Oh great, it's falling. Might as well attach it to the rib cage right now. Okay, now we have that done. Next up, let's work on the actual rib cage, which is going to be a square piece, 2 square pieces. Let's cut out 2 square pieces right now. Nope, that's too big. Okay, so folding it to the required size. Yes, that's it. Perfection. So one of these pieces we're going to be putting on the back side, while the other one we'll put on the front side. So we will push it in there. I mean, tape it there, and turn it into sort of a diamond shape like this, so it gives a rib cage kind of feel. So that's the back part. Now we're gonna do the same on the front side, but as I told you guys, the front side has to be a bit more bulkier, so I'll be adding some random pieces that I was about to throw just to give it more of a weight in the front side. Okay, once that's done, I'll put this guy there. Now just like that, we have a torso complete. So let's work on the legs now. So let's quickly test if it's bendable. See, so you can bend it forwards, backwards. That's exactly what I needed, and I got it. So let's start with the crotch part. Now this one is going to be the challenging one because there are going to be a lot of shapes, but don't worry because I have a really simplified way of doing things. And that is by using this tiny thing. The lower torso might be a bit too big, so I'll make sure to shorten it up like this. Alright. Now after that's done, we are going to be putting this there, like rotate it in around it. This one's too big. I make things too big from the get-go because we can always chop them down. It's the easiest thing, but it's happening too often today. Alright, so rotate it like such. Nice. Again, I think it's a bit too big, but this will do for now. Okay. Then comes giving it the shape of an underwear. That sounds weird, but that is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making it look like an underwear. Okay, so to do so, we need to fold two of these outwards, like that, and two of these outward as well. Next up, tape them, or it's better to just cut those pieces out. It's gonna be more tidier. So once you do that, it should look like a triangular shape, more of a pentagon shape, but it's an underwear shape in my simple forms. That's much easier to understand, right? Alrighty, so is it still bendable? It's still bendable. Nice. So next up, we're going to be moving on to the legs. Now there's no more complicated parts left except for the head, but the legs are going to be fairly easy enough. Now let's put this right above it. See, it's exactly the same length, so we can use this guy as our reference. I'll quickly use my pencil right here to take the measurements. Actually, I should probably take it this way. So this one's going to be the leg measurement. Now the leg is going to be as big as the lower part of your rib cage to the lower part of your crotch, so that big. The thigh is as big as this part, sort of. So yeah, Also, another thing is you might want to remember is your head is 6 times smaller than your entire body. So if you like have 6 of these heads, it should completely make the length of the head. So that is exactly what I did here. There's 1 head, there's 2 heads, 3 head, 4 head, 5 head, and 6 heads. So we're going to be using that kind of stuff and measurements along the video. Now I took the measurements of the thigh, so let me quickly cut that out and see what it looks like. You might want to make it a bit bigger than that because we're not going to be making that spherical shapes. That's too complicated. So instead of those spherical shapes, we have these wires as joints. So there's one, fold it in half. Now you have 2 legs. Actually, you should have probably made a long one because thighs are extremely thick. It's the same length as the lower leg, so let's use this piece for the lower leg. Let's do the same thing for the thigh. There's 1, there's 2. Alright, so we have 2 of these. So we're just going to be rolling them and it should give us a proper thigh shape. So the video is already 16 minutes. I'm probably going to be making a part 2 for this one, which is going to be shorter probably. So I'll roll these and probably see you in part 2 because, you know, YouTube doesn't like the long videos. So check out the part 2. We're going to be continuing the same process. This was very unexpected. I didn't think it would take this long, but yeah, let's see you in part 2.